This Big 12 College Football Preview, Part 1 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to a $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN.
This is Brock Parity from Iowa State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Hello, Sean. Like my shirt here, rocking the Brock Hard Purdy shirt.
Oh, nice.
Let me stand up all the way here. We got a guest.
Look at that. Ooh, Brock Hard Purdy. We had a
in the store.
Yeah, we had a brief love affair with Brock Purdy. Joining us in studio from the college football experience, Colby Dant, aka Pick Dundee. Colby, you got us that Brock Purdy, Iowa State's Brock Purdy. It was before he was in the NFL, before his voice changed. Why did you choose Brock Purdy?
Well, I can tell the future, Sean. That's why the people are listening to this podcast, I'm sure. Yeah, I knew he was going to be a great quarterback in the NFL and a very rich man. And I said, hey, we should do this before he gets rich. Before we get rich.
He didn't know he was going to be a very rich man because he was on Cameo charging. What did we pay for the Brock?
That was nothing. That was literally like $10. Yeah.
Colby was given like anything under like $20 was greenlit.
And that's how we ended up with the fake Mr. T. I pity the fool who doesn't listen to SGPN.
Fake Mr. T took us for more than that, buddy. I hate to tell you.
Wait, so fake Mr. T costs way more than Brock Purdy?
Way more than Brock Purdy.
Oh, that's great. That is great. We're here talking college football. Colby, why do they call it the truck stop conference? People are maybe just hopping in.
Or Colby.
No, I think people refer to it as the trucks, the interwebs, because, well, once you had over the years, you've had so many different teams within the Big 12, and they're a lot of them have departed. It is weird though, because those teams are in Lincoln, Nebraska, and College Station. And I guess Austin, Texas is a big city, but it's not like these other cities were known as like, So
you don't have the origin.
Well, no, when they went and added the other teams, like Tucson, Arizona, Orlando, Florida, and then people were wondering, well, who is the most dominant team in the conference? Is it Oklahoma State? Is it Kansas State? Is it Iowa State?
Because Provo's not really a truck stop.
Yeah,
truck stop.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe you need a quick soap.
Well,
it's off the beaten path though. Like it's not a route that you would you're not like a crew. You're not going through Provo. You're going to Provo.
Yeah, well, I think most people just
same with Ames,
the old Big
Boulder,
12.
not really like a truck stop.
No,
unless you're a crunchy granola.
No, but I think it had to do more with like if you took away Oklahoma and Texas, who Oklahoma had majority of those Big 12 championships. Who is the blue blood in the conference? I think most people thought Kansas State, which is Manhattan, Kansas, the Little Apple, which I think some people say, well, it's a truck stop.
What state has the best truck stops?
That's a very good question. Did you ask?
Well, I would say it's interesting because there's like two levels of truck stops. There is like, hey, I grew up around a city. This is a rest stop, which we also would probably call a truck stop. And then there's the like you're in the middle of the country and there's showers in the bathrooms.
Coin operated showers. That's a sign of a legit truck stop. To me, I think truck stop, and maybe it was just from driving across the country. To me, I think Oklahoma, even parts of Texas where it's just open plains for just completely flat. In Kansas, probably I-40.
Which is, I think I would agree with the Texas area as well. Like my first answer, probably before you had told me Oklahoma 20 minutes ago. I think I probably would have said like West Texas, but that fits the Big 12. So there you go. It fits that.
There are parts of like that area and north of that area, like through Oklahoma, where it is unbelievable how long it can take to drive through a state.
Yeah, just super flat.
Like
not a lot.
Sean mentioned it. 40 goes through the very tip of Texas.
Yeah,
and
even that. Just the
drive,
tip is really long.
It's a wide tip. It's a wide tip.
Long.
Takes out Tennessee, another shockingly long state.
So we broke it up into two parts. Part one, we're going by alphabetical order. We're going to hit the top 8 in alphabetical order, win total, any sort of futures we like. And then part two coming up tomorrow is the starting with Kansas all the way down to West Virginia. But any big takeaways, Colby, from last year's Big 12? Of course, Arizona State just went on an incredible run. Cam Scadaboo putting the team on his back, taking Texas to double OT.
Should have beat Texas. They got robbed on a helmet to helmet or a non-helmet to helmet. Also, Texas, they had them at a 4th down and 10.
I know, man.
You know,
got to get that done.
But the conference in general is, to me, I think, and I think it backs my point will back me up here, is they have the most close games. Like the team projected to be dead last year. Arizona State won the conference, but they got to the conference championship game with a 4-way tiebreaker.
Well, and you could make a good case to your point, especially gambling wise, one of the most exciting conferences, because the lowest win total is still 5.5.
They don't know what they're doing. Vegas is terrified of the Big 12,
and the highest win total is 8.5. So all these teams are clumped up in this 3-win range, which I think makes it pretty juicy for some of these to win the Big 12. And even remember last year, what was it? A 4-way tie,
and those teams hadn't played each other. So I think Colorado fans, BYU fans were like, what the hell? Well, BYU had played Arizona State, but they all hadn't played each other. So it was very.
Well, remember last year too, half the episodes were figuring out
tiebreak game,
tiebreak scenarios, and even some of the conferences hadn't even put out how they plan on breaking the ties.
Yeah, and I think a margin of deficit played a role, but
dumbass stuff like that.
Last season though, the Big 12 played the most closest games of any conference. The average game was between 8 points, right? To give you an idea, like the SEC was almost at 14.
Yeah.
So this conference is a bundle of fun.
I certainly think that, unfortunately, we
Did
don't.
You say bundle of fun?
You said bundle of fun. You also earlier said that your point was going to back you up, which was a strong flex. I hope your point backs you up. But no, I do think unfortunately, we don't live in a time where people value parity. They value how many top dogs you have. And what is better for a healthy ecosystem? A conference where everyone beats each other up, but no one really ends up with that pristine record, or something like this. Unfortunately, like this is more fun. This is better for business across the board, and it leads to just more interesting games down the stretch. But the dumbasses who are running things are still going to look at a team that comes out of this conference with 9 or 8 wins and like, they're not. They're going to get disrespected on the seed line every time.
They probably will be. I mean, but that happened all across the board. Indiana should have been hosting a playoff game against Notre Dame.
This is where it does get to an interesting place. In 3 or 4 years, when you have the consistent doormats of, say, the SEC or the Big Ten, like, does something change?
Well, and to what college football has, I don't think, ever been more interesting because of the arms race.
Yeah.
Like Cody Campbell, former Mike Leach offensive lineman at Texas Tech, part of the NIL collective, put in $55 million, that more than any other team in college football this year for this roster. They're number Texas 1 in the Tech transfer portal.
Did you see
we're going to talk about them tomorrow.
Yeah, they spent $1 million on a softball pitcher. That's how serious they are about spending.
And they took them to the Natty, but they didn't get the Natty. They lost in the national championship.
Imagine spending $1 million on a softball pitcher and not winning.
It seems to be
insane.
It
lost
does
Texas too.
So I was unrelated to football, but I was just reading a report on like kind of average NIL valuations across various sports. Softball was surprisingly high. So there's like pretty even parity between softball and baseball, which was really interesting to see.
But yeah,
like there's more $1 million pitchers in softball or $500,000 pitchers in softball than there are in baseball.
That's wild. No, but back to like college football. This thing, if Texas and Oklahoma hadn't left, I don't know that Cody Campbell throws this money into Texas Tech. You know what I mean? So it's a fascinating time because you have
it's a wide open. They feel like they got a shot.
Well, and they feel not only do they feel like they have a shot, I think they felt like disrespected that Texas and Oklahoma left. So then you see them raising this type of money and throwing this in, and I think, we'll see where this goes 5-10 years down the road, because you keep spending like that. I don't see how you're going to be bad every year. Now you might not be winning the Big 12 championship, but you're going to be very good for a long time.
Right?
Yeah.
Players win, and I think there's certainly correlation to spending money and being good. It's probably tighter correlation in basketball, but we'll see what football. Yeah. So anyway, this is would you say this is our favorite conference?
In the Power 5
to talk about?
Power 4, certainly.
Super fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Let's talk some win totals before we do. Shout out to Circa. Time is running out to enter to win the ultimate fantasy football giveaway. I mean, Circa is awesome to watch college football, but also if you want to get a fantasy football draft, maybe Colby even gets crazy and does a college football fantasy draft, but you can win the ultimate fantasy football draft experience, 2-night stay for you and 11 of your friends. Everyone in your league should be entered in this contest. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. $5,000 bar tab at Stadium Swim. And of course, again, you hang out at the cabana, they pick you up in a limo, you get a party at the Legacy Club, overhang bar, they're getting you drinks. It is just an awesome casino, awesome sportsbook, great time to hang out. And if you don't win the contest, you can still use the promo code SGP15 and get 15% off all the Circa properties. And we're also brought to you by mybookie.ag, your home to bet on college football. Maybe you're dabbling with a little baseball, maybe some NFL futures, whatever you want to bet on. Mybookie.ag has you covered, and use that promo code SGPN. Get a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply on the deposit bonus, but get in over there right now. Mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN.
So Sean, it is July 4th week. We'll be out there.
Yes.
In Vegas.
Come
so
say
a fan
hi.
comes up to us and says, what is the one thing I have to do at the Circa or the D or the Golden Gate, one of Derek's properties? What is the one thing I have to do while I'm here?
Well, oh man, that's tough. I would say play the NFL slot machine, but also
Saginaws.
Nice, Colby.
If you're staying at the D, the Sigma Derby, which is the old timey, it's like a mechanical.
That is fire.
It's great for the truck stop because it's coin operated.
Operated. Yeah. Maybe you have some quarters left over from a long road trip. You want to spend them over at the Sigma Derby. It's like little mechanical horses that they actually set odds that you can win money on.
Yeah. It's fun.
It's if
you're betting exactas, it's very fun.
Yeah, if you're with a girl, actually, it's like a great group game to play if you're on a date at the
Barry's Steakhouse.
It's one of the few group activities actually nowadays, but so many things locking you into a screen outside of sitting at a classic table.
Yeah, like a blackjack table.
Anytime we've been at the Sigma Derby, every spot's filled and everyone's having a good time.
No, Sigma Derby is like the most unique thing. But I think you just got honestly for me, if it was one thing, just post up at the sports book. It's as crazy as it sounds, seeing that thing in person, it's as close as to a spiritual experience.
It is unfortunate how there is an element of us. We've been there so much that it just.
Well, and the VSiN studio is right by one of the entrances. So if you hang out there sometimes, like we're waiting for the show before us to end, and you'll just see people walk in, they're like, holy shit, and taking photos.
I was going to say that.
Like you kind of get numb to it, but really,
watching people experience it for the first time, it's like, God damn.
Yeah. And it's awesome for a big game, but it's also just fun to randomly hang out when no one's there.
Yeah.
Because you can always find something.
Just hang out, sit in the seat, watch some games. Maybe see us and get a handshake from me. Those are always on the table.
Handshake is still on the table.
Handshakes are always on the table in Vegas, and depending on what time it is, might involve a hug. All right.
Arizona.
Colby, you want to bring up your beautiful, or am I driving? I'll drive.
Live slides, youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast. Look at this amazing, beautiful piece of art that Colby made up. The odds to win the truck stop conference. We even got some.
Anything you want to get into, Colby here?
Well, we got first I love Iowa State's coming in off the road. and Oklahoma State has been parked there for a while. Gundy might have been to your Mark's lot lizards right there, as you see on the wall.
So many Easter eggs here.
Yeah.
So many Easter eggs.
Only thing I don't like is Subway here. Come on. Get rid of Subway.
True.
I know. I didn't have enough time to ditch Subway
so
here. Subway, please hit us up.
Pick Dundee Premium.
Yeah, I mean, pulling back the curtain, Colby was grinding at the kitchen counter on these slides. All right,
no days off.
So pop over because if we pop over to the next slide, we got who we're talking about today, which top half, as Sean said. Wait, what is this?
No, this is just listed in order to win the Natty.
Wait.
Or no, Alpha. I don't know. Actually, I don't know what kind of order this is.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of order this is either. Colby, what happened?
Hang on. I'm loading up.
Oh my god. Colby spends so much time.
I think I downloaded the photo, but I forgot to add it to the slideshow.
We'll come back to these slides.
Yeah.
But as Colby's loading this, we will be talking about the top half in alphabetical order. If you remember, the reason we do things in alphabetical order is because people got mad when we picked other orders. So now you get alphabetical order for the rest of time. Here are the teams we'll be talking about today. The national championship odds are always hilarious for like every team outside of the 6 or 8. I see Colorado getting some love already. Let's hop into the first team, Arizona at the top there with more zeros than you can count.
Get that jump back, but you're gonna have to jump back to the slides.
Oh, I took it. Now they're gone. Jesus Christ, Colby.
You did?
Well, I had to remove.
Why'd you have to remove that,
Colby? We needed to have a conversation about your dedication to these slides.
There you go. There you go.
So let's head over to Arizona, who, fair to say, probably the trash of the conference. Definitely the trash of what we're talking about today. Maybe the entire conference. They're coming off a season where they went 2-7 in conference, 4-8 overall. Their win total set at 5.5, plus 124 to the over. Sean, minus 152 for the privilege to fade this team this year. To win the Big 12, 55-1. To make the college football playoff, 30-1. One of the few teams that we'll be talking about today that doesn't have a no option. That's how bad they'll be. And as I mentioned, lots of zeros in the national championship price, sitting at 1,000-1. So Colby, wrong Arizona team. As you know, we're big forks up guys. So what's there to be optimistic about Arizona other than this fire ass logo?
Yeah, I mean that's coming back, by the way, which is good news for if you're an Arizona fan. Because they had the Desert Swarm defense back when they had that logo with Teddy Bruschi and company.
Teddy ice cold Bruschi.
Yeah. But Brent Brennan. I mean, I was on the under last year, and a lot of it had to do with. It was a tough spot for Brent Brennan to walk into. They were coming off a double-digit win season, entering a brand new conference, and then their coach left for Washington, and he brought a ton. Not only did their coach bring a ton of players with him to Washington, including their star running back Jonah Coleman, their defensive line got rated by Texas, who went to the college football playoffs. 2 of their defensive linemen started on Texas in the college football playoffs. So, that I just thought it was a lot to ask of Brent Brennan. I know Arizona fans were really disappointed. They had high hopes because coming off a 10-win season, returning Noah Fafita, Tet McMillan, all those guys, Lamonius Craig, and it just didn't work out. But it was just too much to me. Okay, yeah, your quarterback and wide receiver looked good, but the meat of that team was gone. The line of scrimmage was gone. And I think this year, Brent Brennan's a good coach. He did a great job at San Jose State. This year they switch up to the air raid, bringing in Seth Dogecoin from Marshall, where they won the Sun Belt as the OC. Fafita's back, right? And then the defense, they hired Danny Gonzalez, who's a Rocky Long guy, who I think is a very good defensive coordinator. So I do think they will actually make strides this year. And
3 home games to start off like that on their schedule.
And that K-State game, I believe, is a non-con game because it was scheduled. Last year they played it too. They scheduled that before they had to join the Big 12. So that game does not count.
Oh, that's not conference play.
It does not count regarding conference play.
I'm kind of I would say cautiously optimistic about this team. They're returning 16 starters, year 2 of the head coach, year 3 of Noah Fafita as a starter, the Huntington Beach bad boy, as I like to call them. I kind of think, obviously you lose Ted McMillan to the draft, but again, I think that maybe they were relying on that too much and just hoping that connection would carry them. 6 wins for this team feels pretty realistic. What do you think, Colby?
Yeah, no, I think they'll get there. Like you look at the schedule too. What do you want to see on the schedule? Preferably, you probably want Oklahoma State. You probably want Houston. You probably want.
Well, you don't have to go to BYU. They're playing in Tucson, which is huge.
Yeah,
one of their hardest games at Iowa State. You're at least getting that off a bye. At Houston's gonna, and then same with that Colorado. You're playing at elevation, but at least you have a bye the week before.
And we don't know what Colorado is going to be this year, so it is. And then when you add in, how about the timely spots of when you play, like Cincinnati on November 15th and Baylor on November 22nd. There's nothing saying Dave Aranda's coaching Baylor on November 22nd. There's nothing saying Scott Satterfield's coaching Cincinnati.
I'm not falling for
15th.
your coaching executions this year.
That was a common theme last year. But the counter is then you're playing at least at Cincinnati, middle of November, probably not ideal for an Arizona team. But and you get those 3 home games. It's hot as shit in Tucson to start off, which I like. Go and then you don't have to play at Provo, which is a super tough place to play. I'm on the over here, 5.5. Kramer, what's your thoughts on this Arizona team?
I mean, in general, you always want to kind of pluck from the bottom, especially the undervalued in a conference that has tremendous amounts of variance. And I guess my that was my main question for Colby is it seems like they have some reasons to be excited from like a football perspective. So why are we so low here? The schedule didn't seem hard. I saw some of the strength of schedule analytics really like Arizona this year. So I was kind of shocked to see the price as well. I was thinking we were going to have to pay a little bit. So I'm with you guys. I'm not doing any sort of future activity. Although to win, can they win the Big 12?
Anyone can, but I don't think so. I don't think they're there yet, but I think they can make a bowl this year, and that would be progress for Brent Brennan and company.
No.
Great use of Colby.
And Colby, who is your favorite team?
I am an East Carolina fan.
It's just great to have Colby in studio for dueling Colbys.
Well, the lisp too. You really you get to see the difference.
Yeah.
All right. Do I still have a lisp? All right. Let's move along. How do I do this? We'll just do this for now. Next up, our Arizona State Sun Devils. Forks up. Shout out to the Sun Devils. 8.5 is their win total this year after coming off a championship in the Big 12. Cam Scadaboo on my Giants now. Very exciting. They did go 7-2 in conference, swept out of conference. Like I said, 8.5 right down the line with -110 each way, 5.5 to 1 to win the conference, plus 410 to make the college football playoffs. I'm still a little worried about this conference carrying more than one playoff team. So I don't know if I would take the playoff price over the conference price, and 110 to 1 to win the national championship.
To me, I love Kenny Dillingham as a coach. Scadaboo is a dog, but I don't know, like watching that team in person and just watching them in the playoffs. And yeah, they should have probably beat Texas there. It felt like last year was just such this magical run, and now you're coming in with super high expectations. Last year, as you said, Colby, weren't they? They were picked like dead last. No expectations. Yeah. Easy to rally around that. Scadaboo's a dog. You do. Sam Leavitt is back.
Well, and that's, to me, is he not kind of I know we'll do a Heisman episode later, but to me, the fun long shot way to play them is probably him.
But I think them getting to 9 wins, it's just like it felt like everything broke right for them.
They played 8 one-score games last year.
Yeah,
and they won majority of those except the Texas game. Yeah,
big time regression loading. If we load up the schedule, I mean, this was I hate to say this, but if this wasn't Arizona State, it's the easiest fade you've ever had in your life.
Northern Arizona at home, at Mississippi State already week 2.
That's tough.
Texas State at home, at Baylor, TCU at home. Then you have to go to Salt Lake to play the Utes. That's not going to be an easy
Colby
game.
mentioned this Texas Tech roster.
Texas Tech. At least you get them at home. Then you get Houston at home. At
Ames,
Iowa State. No thanks.
At Boulder.
Yeah, at Elevation at Boulder. Now you do get to host Arizona for that rivalry game, and you have West Virginia at home. You don't want to go to Charlottesville.
I see six wins, 6 to 7 wins where I'm like, yeah.
But I could see, I feel like 3 losses. I can get to 3 losses easier than I can to 2. So as much as I love Forks Up, I'm going under 8.5. It's just everything broke right.
Oh, I was agreeing. I was saying I have a hard time finding even 8 wins.
Yeah, no, and I think you look at it and it's hard to project the Big 12, but you tend to think TCU, Baylor, Utah, Texas Tech, Iowa State among the tops. The only one missing there would be Kansas State that they don't draw. So I'm with you. And even like some of the other sneaky games, like, you know, at that point when they get West Virginia, Rich Rod's in year 1, but normally first year coaches, it starts to click in November. So that's even tricky. And Texas State in the Sun Belt. Texas State barely got past Texas State last year. They won by 3. Texas State getting them again. They're a team that could win the Sun Belt. So it is a challenging schedule. I'll take the under. I just think despite Jordan Tyson being back, I know they got Uday, the running back from Army, coming in, and Sam Levitt obviously played phenomenally last year. And I do buy into Dillingham selling that culture. I think he's the guy to fix them. Yeah,
he's a great head coach. And he even said, "Hey, all that money you won on the Arizona State Sun Devils, betting the over and whatever, we donate
like
that to the NIL." And
you know,
and when we were out in Vegas, we talked to our friends, and they were saying he's really had an impact on that.
Yeah.
People after this past season, people are throwing more money and check out Venezia's.
No, Arizona. Yeah, shout out to Venezia's.
Well, I think it's just like when you have a coach that says the quiet part out loud and you're doing well, it's like, fuck, it's the easiest hell. Yeah. Let's go.
No, I just think last year was kind of like a perfect season. I don't want to be like super negative on him because I do like the head coach quarterback situation.
8-4 can still get you to the Big 12 championship. Probably.
Well, and it could be, like to your point, Kramer, I think if you want to have fun with Arizona State and play some long shot stuff, don't just take the over, take like, them maybe to win the Big 12 or a sprinkle on leave it at Heisman. Cause there is a world where they just run it back and grow on what they did last year. It's just everything broke right.
But also clearly Cam Scattaboo was part of the reason.
No, that Texas game,
do you remember that
just
Texas
willed
game?
them to the, remember he was vomiting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
John Reagan's 2.0.
Now
right?
on the Giants. Very excited. What do you have an idea of what the Sam Levitt price is, Colby?
I do think
is he like a super? Yeah, okay.
I thought it was a trendy play.
Okay, I'm seeing between 25 and 35 to 1.
Oh, okay.
Out there. So that would be a more fun way to play the long shot, right?
Yeah.
All right, moving along.
Baylor.
Where Colby found this Baylor logo, no idea. Coming off a nice bounce back season, 6-3 in conference, 8-4 overall after that horrible 3-9 season in 2023. 7.5 is the number, plus 106 to the over, minus 130 to the under, 7-1 to win the conference, plus 590 to win or to make the playoff, minus 950 to not, 181 to win the Natty. Again, I think with these Big 12 teams, if there's a delta between the conference price and the playoff price, I would love for the conference to get more respect, but as Colby mentioned, it's going to be a meat grinder. Just give me the conference future over that. That being said, I don't have a lot of Baylor takes this year, other than they're not a team that I tend to. Last year, I feel like every Baylor game we were involved with, I was wrong, and so. I don't know. Does the ascension continue? Is this a team that we're confident can run back the 8 wins from
this?
Last year?
Look, a lot of people like Baylor this year. A lot of people think that they can win the Big 12. Dave Aranda kind of still on the hot seat, but a lot of people thought he was going to get fired last year. 8-win season, probably should have been 9 if Colorado doesn't throw that Hail Mary, right? Or in the BYU game too. So easily could have been a 10-win season. They returned Sawyer Robertson.
15 returning starters. They get 5 Big 12 home games.
But the problem is look at that schedule. If you pull up that schedule, 11 Power 5s out of 12 games. And Auburn is supposed to be really good this year. We'll see. They open up the season on a Friday night, Auburn coming into Waco. But then the other one is at SMU, college football playoff team from a year ago. So the non-con is pretty brutal, even though there's an FCS there.
Sanford is the only like easy one. And then Arizona State at home, at Oklahoma State.
Now the good news is the back half of the schedule.
Yeah.
You want to play Cincinnati, I think. You want to play UCF. You want to play Arizona. You want to play Houston.
Fire coach theory, beware.
And Utah, you're playing off a bye at home, which is like the ideal situation. And you're playing Arizona. Oh wait,
the schedule is nice.
Do they play Arizona right after Arizona plays Arizona State? Because that's always a good.
No, right before.
Oh, right before.
It's a look
even,
ahead.
Either way, that's something you want to have on your schedule. Yeah, I'm not fading Baylor this year. I'll take the over 7.5 wins. And they finished the season strong. They won their last 6. And to Colby's point, like maybe should have been 9-win season. Aranda, I think maybe being on the hot seat helps them. I don't know if I have them winning the Big 12, but over 7.5 wins, I feel like is doable for this team.
I'm going to take it too, mainly just because the Big 12 conference schedule, I think breaks nice for them.
They get a lot of the tough games at home.
Obviously, the first 4 weeks, I mean, you're playing 3 teams that have expectations to potentially make the college football playoffs.
The other way to look at this is they could very easily start 1-4.
Yeah. But then maybe rattle off. I mean, they started 2-4 last year and still got to 8.
They have a back-to-back road spot. The coming off the bye playing Utah, that looks good. Utah's also coming off a bye, so kind of neuters that nice.
But I would say though, continuity is big these days where every team's got so many transfers. I do like the fact they have that much returning production that have been in that system with Spavital and Aranda running the defense there. So I think. And another thing is shop around on the numbers because you can find it's not as set in stone as the NFL numbers. Like you could find.
Oh, we're shopping.
Yeah, you could find numbers that are to me better value perhaps out there. I think 7. Even earlier, like maybe 3 weeks ago, I think 6.5 was out there. So I think you're right. I think they're gonna go 8-4.
Kramer,
give me the over.
You going under? Or you going over?
The 7.5 makes this trickier, but I don't see as much of the optimism because if they, in my world where they're winning maybe 2 games before the bye, that means they have to pick up 6 out of 6. I'll take the under. BYU, another team that had a nice bounce back season, 7-2 in conference. 10-2 overall. Again, why every conference doesn't play the 9-game schedule? Cowards. And by the way, also established themselves very quickly in the conference as one of the better home field crowds there is. 8.5 plus 138 to the over, minus 170 to the under. 11-1 for the conference. Again, playoff price way adjusted here, plus 680, minus 1,200 for them to miss the playoff, and 190-1. For them to win it all, which BYU winning it all would be.
I'll book that action.
Something that I wouldn't necessarily bet on. But Colby, we like them at home. How do we like them this season? A lot of expectations with a big number here.
We got to talk about the quarterback Retzlaff, right?
Yeah, he's got a little situation going on pending potentially.
What's
he's
the situation?
Good. I think it's just some allegations.
Some sexual misconduct.
I didn't know soaking could get allegations.
But I don't know. What's your, I didn't dig too deep on it, Colby. Do you think he's actually going to miss games?
I don't think so, but I also am not that familiar with like what exactly like
the case and the evidence.
Yeah. But I just judging by the reaction on some stuff, I think he's going to play. It is a little bit of a distraction. They did win a bunch of games by 6 points or less last year, and that's what has me weary. But the non-con's nice, man, with the exception of that automatic loss at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. Take it all, my East Carolina Pirates. You're lucky you don't have my soundboard here. What happened last time they played ECU? We went into Provo.
East Carolina fan.
We went into Provo and got it done.
Well, and at Iowa State, you can, if you have a look ahead line on that now, just smash Iowa State because they play Utah at home and then have to go at Iowa State. I'm grading that as an automatic loss.
Oh yeah, and you get the Holy War. You get the Holy War there. Yeah, I mean, to me, it is nice to me, getting Stanford, Frank Wright comes in. They fired Troy Taylor late into the offseason. So they're kind of a dumpster fire. Whole team left. So Portland State, Stanford, obviously incredibly, really good, non-con. They should be 2-0 there. The ECU game, take it for whatever you think.
What does that mean?
At Colorado.
Back-to-back road spot.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
I think they could lose one of those games. Then to me, you got the Holy War, you got the Iowa State game, and the back half is actually in Lubbock. I know you get the bye week before it, but in Lubbock, we just talked about that roster.
Yeah.
TCU, I think, is a contender to win the championship here. Now they have to go to Lavelle Edwards, but I just feel like you won that many close games. I think they're an 8-4 type team. I will take the under on BYU.
I don't know. Every time I feel like BYU's been so good.
Where are the losses?
My losses would be either ECU or Colorado.
You're getting Colorado with a new quarterback early in the season.
Okay, it's in Boulder though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying as someone who was a Shador hater.
Yes.
Shador still was a lot of the reason that team was good, along with Travis Hunter. And so I don't know what to expect from this Colorado team, and knowing that they have a young quarterback against a program that gets after it. I'm just saying it's not like an auto win for me. I go through this schedule.
Well, I'm just saying like ECU or
where are the 5 losses?
ECU or Colorado.
You just giving
right?
them all.
No, I'm saying
road
one.
games?
I'm giving them one there. No, I think they get past Arizona, but they could drop it to Arizona. Iowa State's a loss to me after the Holy War, and the Holy War was a 1-point game. That game.
No, I agree. Also, Iowa State's off a bye there, so
yeah, that's an automatic win for Iowa State.
So you have the potential of the Holy War. That could be both losses right there.
I think they lose to Iowa State. They maybe lose 2 in the last month there off their second bye.
I see 3 losses.
I don't see 4 losses. I'm going over 8.5.
I'll take the under.
I've also recently come to realize that there are a strong amount of people that also like BYU in my neighborhood. So
really?
Oh yeah, very pro BYU.
This is a neighbor play at the barbecue. Huh?
Very pro. Well, turns out there are loud, boisterous groups of people that organize activities like the mafia, and then there are quiet ones.
So you feel good about a ranked team going into Dowdy Ficklin Stadium and getting a dub? Okay. Okay.
I said 3 losses.
It's gonna burn down. I'll be at that game.
Yeah, Iowa State's gonna lose, and then you got they're gonna fuck up East Carolina.
You think that them coming off a bye, they are probably looking ahead to that Colorado spot.
Oh, 100%. And like I said,
so three
Sean
losses.
might not remember, but we were in Vegas on a Friday night at the Win. If I may pull this up, I believe it was the year 2022.
What are you pulling up?
Okay.
We went to BYU. Oh, tough environment. And we won 27-24.
Who's we?
ECU.
Oh.
All right. So you think that they're just going to
they got revenge on their
trot
mind.
in to Dowdy Ficklin?
Yeah.
So again,
I think they are.
Coach firing, prognostications, and ECU.
That's
games.
a red flag. that's a Colby's tip.
All right, next up, look, and what a fabulous logo by Colby here. The Cincinnati Bearcats, who have been a little bit of a doormat the last couple seasons. 2-win improvement last year, 5-7. Overall 3-6 in conference, 6.5 the win total, 116.5, or I'm sorry, 116 to the over, minus 142 to the under, 30-1 to win the conference. So. No chance. 16-1 for the playoff and 850-1 to make the national championship. Colby, you mentioned big year for Satterfield up there. Feels like this program is heading in the wrong direction since Fickle left.
100%, and I think he has to win this year or he's fired. But they were. Patty C is a closet Cincinnati fan. He always has been, and
because he's a Bearcat.
What else is going on in that closet?
He's a bear and a cat all at the same time.
He's not only hiding his Cincinnati fandom in that closet.
In fact, that picture, if I close my eyes and squint, I can see Patty C.
Okay, yeah.
He's about to do some.
Patty C's got some longer hair. He's got that mane going.
Bearcat pimping is what he called it. I think.
I pay attention to Cincinnati a little bit more because I know it's for arguments because of him. And they were a very frustrating team last year to be a fan of because I feel like they were up in every game and then lost.
Yeah, they started out 5-2, lost 5 in a row. Now the case for them, 15 returning starters. You could argue best team in the Satterfield era.
Brendan Sorsby back at the quarterback spot. Yeah, this will be the best team in the Satterfield era. Dante Corleone on the D line.
Well, to your point on the schedule from last year, a lot of close losses.
Great
there.
impression. Much better than your top of the morning to you. What?
I forget what that was for. What did you say? Canada. It's for Canada.
Yeah, I go. We brought Colby on the Veasan show talking CFL. And I go, our resident Canadian expert from Canada. Colby
And you
goes
said-
top of the morning to you.
said top
It
of the-
doesn't even change his voice at all. His improv classes didn't pay off.
Oh
Colby.
man.
Go back to groundless.
Oh wow,
I feel like I just kind of have to be out on Cincinnati.
feels like an insult.
Now maybe it's just because I like some of these other
Well,
teams.
that's how you build it though, is that because if he gets fired, this is a tricky one. I don't think they would fire him at that second bye week. I think if they have a losing record by
real
then.
quick, they're Nebraska at home. Or sorry,
no,
oh, no,
Arrowhead. That's at Arrowhead.
Neutral.
Yeah.
Bowling Green.
Eddie
at
George, the
home.
new head coach there, coming into
look at
town.
that.
Yeah.
Northwestern State at home. All right, that's a win. But then you got to go at Kansas, who now has the new stadium, has a
Jalen
much better-
Daniels healthy from that back injury fully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unrelated, but Kansas is the team you got to circle and just back this year.
Iowa
blindly.
State, you get at home. UCF, you get at home. That's good. But then you got to go at Stillwater. Then you got to play Baylor at home, at Utah, Arizona at home, and then BYU at home. So, yeah.
I
And then
cropped
at
out the
TCU. Yeah, they got 6 losses. I'm going under.
I mean, the issue with this schedule, I would
I'll go under as well.
you just have
I think they'll lose to Nebraska. Right? That's one of your 50-50 games. If
Well,
they-
that's going to be a Nebraska crowd.
yeah,
it's not
that'll be
much
a
far of a
Nebraska
drive.
crowd. And that means then what? You get Bowling Green and Northwestern State. Okay. 2 wins right there. But in conference, the only one that like stands out to me is like one that we can kind of say would be a for sure win. I don't think there is a for sure win. It's either UCF or Arizona, right? That could buy you to 4 wins. But finding 3 more, good luck. I'm all over the under here.
Yeah. No, I mean, the more we talk it out, the more we're looking at the schedule. 7 wins is a lot in how competitive this conference should be. Kramer, what are you doing?
I mean, this is one of the teams that when they switched conferences, it was uniquely the Big 12 had like teams that were equipped to show up and be ready to play right away. Cincy looks like they're heading the wrong direction, and we know that
Well, they lost their coach as they entered the conference.
But we know that these mega conferences. So what we're talking about a 16-team league.
Yeah.
We know that there has to be doormats, and there's going to be parity, but you're still going to have some really bad teams. Cincy, to me, like maybe we look for some alt unders, under 4.5 or something like that. I mean, look at this schedule. You could,
It could go really wrong for Cincinnati.
I mean, there's a version of this where they just, I mean, they win one. What did they win last year? 3 conference games. That feels like close to what their ceiling is in terms of conference. So yeah, I'm with you guys. This might be the lock. We might have to pencil that into the lock category. All right, let's head out west. To beautiful Boulder, Colorado, where they're still confused between the Bison and the Buffalo. Bison is something that did roam the plains of America and is what they run out on the field at Colorado, but Buffaloes is what they call themselves. It's like one of those weird identity things. Are they a non-binary?
They
mammal?
identify as buffaloes, Ryan. I don't know why you're trying to
7-2.
You're trying to dead name the Colorado Buffaloes.
He's just mad
mascot.
because he's lost a bunch of money on them. Ever
What do you
since,
mean?
Oh, it
ever
was so
since Crime
good.
went
That
there.
was so
What do
good.
you mean?
You were A1 number 1 hater of Shador. You're taking your hate into Cleveland. Even though he's looking good in camp, he's firing
stop
lasers all over.
He's
the place.
driving 41 miles an hour over the speed limit.
That's what
that's the
fucking
sign of a great
successful
player.
people do.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't need no. Do you think Dion drove the speed limit?
After a miraculous season last year with all sorts of NFL talent, including 5th round quarterbacks, they went 7-2 in conference, 9-3 overall. They were the belle of the ball. Dion's all the way back. They even he even quieted the NFL coaching rumors by signing a big time quarterback prospect. 6.5 is the win total this year. So I guess they didn't take notice. 146 to the over, minus 180 to the under. Wow. 31-1 to win the conference. So longer odds than the Cincinnati Bearcats. Wow.
Yeah, that's
18-1 to make the playoff, 600-1 to win the national championship. Look, even as a hater, like I said earlier, they a lot of the reasons they were able to do what they did last year, that those things aren't on the team anymore.
Yeah. Well, 2 points. I think losing Shedeur and Travis Hunter, obviously huge. I mean, Travis Hunter was, he won the Heisman Trophy.
They might maybe put Travis Hunter first there.
Yeah. But also Shedeur was the quarterback and won them some games, including that Hail Mary. All that being said, if you look at their roster, it is kind of a deeper roster than previous years. You know, some of those games that they were really getting worked in was they didn't have O-line, D-line depth. And I think from what I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, Colby, but Prime has done a good job of bringing in some recruits to shore up both the offensive and defensive line, and they have the money to spend. They bring in a big time quarterback recruit, and look at Coach Prime. Every year as a college football head coach, he's exceeded expectations, even when the expectations have been pretty high. So I am not going to fade this team. I'm going to take them to win 7 games. I don't think, and I mean, Colby, jump in. Is their roster now? They lose some of the top end talent. You can say like, hey, losing Travis Hunter, you can't recover from that. I see that case. But where are you at with this Buffalo roster?
You know me, buddy. They're getting they love to hate on them. So I'm on the over here.
Oh, and especially with the juice, you're getting plus 146 right now.
They brought in Caden Salter from Liberty. He's going to start at quarterback. They have a 5-star Juju Lewis that they flipped from USC at the quarterback spot, but I believe Caden Salter will get that start. Caden Salter last season could not transfer because of some technicality out of Liberty. So you go back the year before, he took Liberty to the Fiesta Bowl, 32 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he can run on the ground too. I think that's going to be the big thing to emphasize this year. I think Colorado is not going to be a finesse team. They have I believe the biggest offensive line in the country by weight. And I think Marshall Faulk, the new running backs coach, they've also brought in Byron Leftwich. Byron Leftwich is on the offensive staff. They are going to be a smash mouth run first football team.
This is going to be a fun team. And you want to talk about at elevation, bringing that smash mouth attitude and really trying to wear out some teams.
And DJ McKinney, probably another first-round corner that will be going to the NFL. So I'm a little worried about the linebacking core. But how about the underrated thing from last season was how good Robert Livingston was as a defensive coordinator. He's back. I thought he was actually the best story. I thought for a Colorado fan because we were a little worried, just about depth and everything. But he did an unbelievable job, I thought, with the defense. And to me, I think this year's schedule is a lot easier than last year's schedule.
Yeah.
The fact, okay,
it's definitely an easier schedule.
I'm high on Georgia Tech, so I do think that's a dangerous game, especially Georgia Tech's so good on the line of scrimmage.
Game 1 too. I think
but it isn't Boulder. So
you're not going to be looking past them to Delaware.
I mean, I think Georgia Tech is going to get them because I think Haynes King and that power quarterback attack.
I was going to say they have they have a lot of continuity.
Yeah, they return a ton, and I think it's a bad. They kind of Colorado wants to play like Georgia Tech, great along the line of scrimmage. But after that, Delaware's brand new to the FBS.
Yeah.
Win. Then they're at Houston and Willie Fritz. It's a little tricky, but because I think Fritz will have that team playing better this year. But then home to Wyoming,
which could be tough, but you want to play Wyoming at home.
I mean, look, if you can get past Georgia Tech, which I don't have them doing that, but you can make a case for them starting out 4 or 5-0.
BYU at home, obviously where you want to get them at TCU,
and he beat Sonny Dykes at TCU.
You don't have to go at Iowa State.
Yeah, I mean, look, it gets tricky towards the end, like in Salt Lake City and Kansas State. Those are probably automatic losses.
Yeah,
and even getting Rich Rod in November.
The West Virginia game is going to be tricky as well.
But I think they could get Arizona State. I think they could get Arizona in Boulder. I think they can win 7 games, 8 games, something like that.
Yeah,
so
I think
I will take the over.
I think they could even be 9-3 if things break right.
I think people are sleeping on the Caden Salter transfer portal get. That quarterback, if people mentioned him for the Heisman last year. Now he had a bad season, but also from what I understand, he didn't want to be there. So for whatever reason, go back the year before, you look and see over 30 touchdowns. I know it was at Liberty. I know, but still, I think surrounding him with this talent and with this big of an offensive line, I think is a good thing.
Kramer,
it will be interesting to see how they look with a potentially an upgraded quarterback, not having the coach's son there anymore, but I still have to take the under.
Yeah. Well, is it just because you hate?
No, I
no,
think,
the case against.
I think
is
if this wasn't
obvious.
Coach Prime, you're like, well, like what are we going to get from the quarterback position? Cool. We have a bunch of stars at quarterback, great, or we have a bunch of stars at coach. Great. We should be better at the offensive line, but we were one of the worst offensive lines in the nation over the last 2 years.
They got better though because they started that freshman. Sure, but as the season went along.
But there is an element here too, like offensive line is one of the positions you can like turn lemons into lemonade the most with great coaching.
Yeah.
I don't think they have good coaching because the offensive line is
still shitting on the coaching. This guy.
I don't think they have great offensive line coaching.
I think that was talent issue last year. And I think
2 years ago, specifically.
I mean, Philadelphia Eagles have a coach that maximizes talent. It's a group position.
They need Statler.
The coach, but I'm just saying they don't have a guy that's maximizing anything. And so I'm not so certain they're going to come in and all of a sudden be good.
I'm higher on the core. I'm higher on the coach. And that to me is the difference. Your point about losing Travis Hunter, losing Shador, and not having the good offensive line. If their offensive line sucks, you're right. They're going to be in trouble.
I didn't think they were a shitty offensive line by the end of the season. Last year.
I'm with you, Colby. Lock it up for Colby and I, or not lock. We'll stay tuned for the locks. Kramer's on the under.
Sean's love fest with the Big 12 continues with all his overs.
Well, how many? Come on, I'm what 4-2 to the over. Stay tuned.
Jesus.
Well, it's also a 2-part. There's 16 teams.
It's under season, baby.
Kramer just loves under. Speaking of unders, what about Underdog? UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. Get in over there. Best Ball Mania. They're giving away millions of dollars for the fantasy football drafts. Best Ball is the best way to draft fantasy football. You draft it. You don't have to think about it the rest of the season. It's great. And you get the deposit match up to $1,000 in bonus cash. And all season long, you're going to be playing college football pick'em on Underdog. That's right. Higher, lower with your favorite college football players. Colby is a master at it. You're going to want to stay tuned to the college football experience, get you those picks and load up now. Get in on the Best Ball Mania. The drafts are super fun. Kramer and I crank them out all summer. And again, go to UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Again, Rhythm is your place for AI-backed picks and props. Cannot wait until they unleash their college football model. I'm looking at what my college football model did very well last year, and it's so fun to build your own model if you don't feel like building it. And again, you're not actually building; you're just adjusting a couple sliders, and next thing you know, you got your own betting model. Rhythm is great for it, and you can get started now. Get the 7-day free trial, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Start playing around. You're going to love it. The power trends have been killing it. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
All right. Next up, another fabulous logo by Colby, the Houston Cougars. Another newcomer to the conference, ended up finishing 4-8 again. Back-to-back years, 3-6 in conference. This year it's 5.5, -205 to the over. Some optimism there. +164 to the under. Another 30-1 shot to win the conference. This one, in being fair, it does feel like Cincinnati should be a slightly lower tier than these other teams. But what do I know? 18-1, just like the Buffs to make the playoff. 650-1 to win the national championship. That's got to be the power of Prime. Colby, are we optimistic about this Houston team?
I didn't realize how good their defense was. Shout out to Phil Steele and his guide. Their defense held opponents to -75 yards per game. They're -75 yards per game, what their normal average was. And I test from last year, I didn't remember their defense being that good. They returned 18 starters. I don't know. You have a good defense returning a bunch of starters.
This is like I know we can break down all these angles. They got Connor Wegman in the portal, which is a very good quarterback, I think, for Willie Fritz. But My thing is just Willie Fritz. I think he's one of the best coaches in all of college football. And you that was year one.
Yeah.
He brought in a bunch of guys, but look what he did at Tulane. Tulane was a doormat before he was there. Right.
I was gonna say this is coaching, and you can really explain away a lot of the schedule last year.
Well, they won even with that. They won as a 17-point dog outright Dundee play of the fucking year against TCU. They almost knocked off BYU if they didn't fumble on a punt return inside the 10.
That's what I was going to say. You can see there was a little bit of a warm up phase here where they dropped some games against bad teams, probably because it was early in the program. And you can explain away some of the end of season stuff as well. Again, first year in the program, but to Sean's point, there were some reasons for optimism heading into this year. And so, I mean, I think you have to if you buy the coach.
And how about this?
You love year two.
How about this I mean, your non-con is Stephen F. Austin.
Win.
Rice.
Win.
Oregon State. It's in Corvallis, but I think Houston's probably going to be better than Oregon State this year. Right. So
it's a tough game though.
It is. But I'm just saying they could go 3-0 there. Right.
Yeah.
They get Colorado early. That's when I would want to play Colorado.
Yep.
Because they're shifting their identity from a passing team to a power rushing team, right? Then you look at Oklahoma State, mystery team, Arizona, okay, kind of average, right? West Virginia, Rich Rod, year one, and it's at home. UCF, Scott Frost, year one. I just think it's a good, good schedule.
Also, are we sure Scott Frost is a good coach?
That's a good question.
Like
he's going for that second natty. He's going for that second natty.
Nebraska knows whether he's a good coach.
But UCF is the place where he came from. So they're the one school that was going to hire him.
Yeah.
So.
Well, to be fair though, Matt Rule has lost 1 million close games too though. So it seems like, is that a Nebraska thing or is that a Frost?
Larry the Cable Guy has to fix that.
I'll take the over though. I think they're.
You got to lay a ton of juice. I don't know why they don't move it, but it's.
If you can find a 6, just take the over on that. I think there's a path.
I don't
even think it's that crazy to take you want to talk about who could be this year's Arizona State? I know they lost some guys in the portal just in the past couple of weeks. Houston did in the secondary, but I think Houston could take a big jump forward this season.
And I don't want to misremember this, but Connor Wegman was
A&M's
the stud at A. Okay,
that's
So I mean this has a lot of makings of something that could work out nicely here.
So we're all in the over 5.5.
On the over. Maybe we tie this to this could go well with a Colorado under. You got heavy juices for me at least. That's a nice smoothie. It's a nice smoothie right there.
Kramer's got his dub club coming out.
What do you mean?
No, it's parlay in 2 minus 200.
I'm being creative. I'm giving the audience options here. This is a logo you've definitely never seen before. Shout out to Brock Purdy, Iowa State, coming off a nice 10-2 season where they went 7-2 in conference. Man, though, did we watch them play some frustrating games though? 7.5 this year. It's a little down on the old squad. Plus 112. To the over, minus 138 to the under, 12-1 to win the conference, 920.
Wait, that is crazy.
Oh, Colby's got an extra zero.
Okay.
12-1 to win the conference.
Oh, my bad.
Jesus.
I told you to check it first.
It's smoking my weed.
920 to make the playoff. Again, I like the conference odds for the Big 12. Minus 2,200 to not make the playoff. That, you want to talk about dub club play. That's a nice dub club play. 290-1 to win the national championship. One of the better home edges and the strange road trips in the Big 12. Colby, if you're truck stopping out here, you're off to a faraway place. This of all the win totals in this conference, this was one of the more surprising to me. So what are we doing here?
They did have 5 wins by 7 points or less, but that's Matt Campbell's MO since he's been there.
I was going to say that's just what they do.
And at one of their road games is now a neutral site game because these idiots, Brett Yormark and Kansas State, I don't know who agreed to this, but Kansas State is playing week 0, a conference game in Dublin, Ireland of all places. Very stupid if you ask me, but why not just do a non-con game? Because that is very pivotal on if a team, in my opinion, there's a good shot.
This is like the Georgia Tech Florida State game.
Yes. Yeah. But even more so because there's a high chance that one of these teams will be in the Big 12 championship. So Kansas State to sell off that home game.
Can you pull up that schedule? because they're interesting. I mean, coming off the Matt Campbell's first ever double-digit win season.
They get Rocco Beck, Anthony Beck's son, back at quarterback.
I think that South Dakota game in Ames, week 2, essentially for them, could be kind of tricky coming off that week 0 game against Kansas State in Ireland.
They also play at Arkansas State for
right after Iowa State.
Why go to Jonesboro? That is a sneaky game because remember
you have a back-to-back road spot at Cincinnati, at Colorado. Now you do get BYU at home. You get Arizona State at home. You got to go to at Fort Worth, Kansas at home, but then you got to go to Stillwater. I don't know, man. I don't want to doubt Matt Campbell, but it does feel like this team could be 7-5.
Well, yeah, I mean there's a number of there's a number of reasons. I like how they have to
13 returning starters.
The stakes of the game to start the season are so high,
incredibly high, man.
What's the number in that game?
I thought it last I saw, I think about a week or two ago.
I'll pull it
3,
up.
2.5, right?
Kansas State's laying 3.5.
Good reminder. We are going to be out at the Circa week 0 for doing some live broadcasts, getting people signed up. Circa Survivor, Circa Millions. Colby's going to be out there.
I'm your leprechaun.
So yeah, if you want to come out and say what's up, watch some college football week 0. That's contest sign up weekend is super fun. They got like an open bar party, a bunch of great hangs. So good time to come out to the Circa and watch college football week 0, get in on the games. I'm going to go under here. Maybe I'm crazy for fading Matt Campbell, but that schedule's a little tough coming off like a season where everything broke right, 10-2. Yeah, I'm going under.
I'm going to take the over. I'm just going to trust Matt Campbell here. And I think the fact that one of their road games is supposed to be at Kansas State's in Dublin, I think that favors Iowa State. And then you look, I as long as they don't trip up to Arkansas State or something, I feel like they're in a good spot, whether they lose the Iowa game or not in the Cyhawk battle. I think at home though that they'll be able to handle, Arizona, BYU. They're going to be able to pick up those wins. If anything, they might be able to go undefeated at home. Now I don't know. I mean, Arizona State, Kansas, good teams, but who knows if Gundy's even there on November 29th at Oklahoma State? He basically took a big pay cut to stay the head coach. Seems like alumni and him are kind of at odds. I'll take the over. I'm just going to trust the returning production.
Yeah, and I think worth calling out for that opening game. So from what just a little internet research, a little Reddit research. From what I understand, the Iowa State has a tremendous amount of alumni in Ireland, and apparently their alumni base in Ireland was part of how this game came together.
Really?
So why would Kansas State give them that though?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no idea. But uncorroborated internet reports, it does seem like at minimum the Iowa State group of people in Ireland, or at least working with the Ireland people to get this game when the series started on the calendar. So I would expect Iowa State to have an advantage, maybe a little money line play.
I do like that. I do like that.
+126 on the money line. Maybe we grab that.
They've beaten them 2 straight years too.
And to put a pin on the over under, I think 100% this is an overplay. Unfortunately, because the schedule is tricky. But on the other hand, we've seen them. On the other hand,
there's not an automatic loss on this thing.
And I like the idea that this is now new Iowa. So do we know will the Iowa still? That game last year was ridiculous, but there are a lot of winnable games. I guess is my point. The road. Anytime I see a schedule, you have a lot of winnable road games. I'll lean it. So.
What did you do, Ryan?
I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, I heard an L bomb. Ryan, make sure you bleep that out.
Over 7.5 at +112.
All right, let's close it out. 2 locks and a future. Kramer, you're up first. No leans, only locks.
All right. So I think for the future, this is a tricky conference to do the future game.
Yeah,
we mentioned earlier, if you wanted to be optimistic, forks up. There's the Heisman angle maybe. But I think step one, let's take a future. And we didn't really talk about a single one that I was like, hey, I love this. So give me BYU. BYU to win the conference
at 11-1.
11-1.
Okay.
Lock number one. I think Cincinnati's going to be bad. I think we look for all unders later, but under 6.5. And by the way, Colby's right. You do need to shop these because you can find 6.5 minus 115s out there. Lastly, it is under season. Do I go double under? Lot of changes out there. I'll be optimistic. Give me Houston over 5.5. I was going to take the under in Colorado, but I spared them for an optimistic take. I like Colby's angles on Willie Fritz and Connor Wegman in a not Texas A&M. How many quarterbacks have left Texas A&M and gotten better? All of them. All of them.
Yeah.
That environment's no good. You can't have military guys in charge of the cheerleaders. It just doesn't work for the quarterback.
That's the angle on why quarterbacks don't work.
Give me Houston on the over.
All right. I'll take Houston over 5.5 as one of my locks. I will also take Colorado over 6.5 as one of my locks. Coach Prime. He's a winner, Ryan, at every level in every situation.
Sure.
This guy's a winner.
Cool.
Except when he was on the Cowboys. For my future.
Barely could hit a baseball.
He played in a World Series and an NFL game, right? Give me the. I do like BYU. 11-1.
John Smoltz did tell us he was a better fisherman than he was a football or a baseball
which is
player.
Insane. I know he said he said fishing was his best sport. I think was his direct quote, which is crazy.
John Smoltz never played football with him, but yeah, I mean that's crazy.
I'll go Buffs 31-1. It's anyone's game.
God, come on,
they have enough coaching to be in the mix of this thing.
Do you respect our audience?
Yes, so I'm giving them winners. I had them to win the conference last year. They were in the mix there until those last couple of weeks. Colby, what are you doing?
Let's lock up the Houston Cougars over 5.5.
Oh no. Oh no. Our Houston Cougars.
Yes. And let's lock up Arizona State under 8.5.
Oh, I wanted to do it. I couldn't. I too much
Colby.
Too much respect for Venetians.
We like to go there and have a good
I
time.
love them. They can still make the playoffs.
We sit down. We have a meal.
8-4 in the Big 12. You can still.
They're not going to.
I might have to whack Colby with the pizza peel.
One loss in the non-con. All right.
Think about it. The people at Venezia's, they'll see the pizza peel and they'll think, "What an asshole! You took the under."
I'm not eating Colby's food in Tempe.
How am I supposed to take my daughter to go visit that campus?
Can we do 2 value plays on the future?
No.
It's tricky.
It depends on what's the second one.
No.
Well, I the one that's just there for you. We should take Iowa State 12-1 there.
Really?
But I also think we should sprinkle a little bit on Houston to be this year's Arizona State.
Really? Should we do Houston instead of BYU?
I think you should because BYU is going to the under is going to hit in BYU.
Yeah, Colby's on the under in BYU.
But I already have the. All right, so Houston's the team we go all in on.
That's our thing.
I don't mind Houston.
Let's jump on these Cougs.
Pivot my BYU future to Houston.
Okay.
And mention I will let my assistant know we'll need paper tickets when we get to the Circa.
Yes,
I like it.
And if you're out there June 3rd, come say what's up to us. We're going to be doing our VSiN show on a Thursday night. So good reason to come out. Or
this Thursday, Sean.
Yes, this Thursday. Or come say hi. Week 0. Colby's going to be out with us as well. We'll be doing the VSiN show. A lot of college football week 0, NFL Circa Million, Circa Survivor sign up. And of course, if you're playing Circa Million, Circa Survivor, go to hang out with our good buddies over at footballcontest.com as your proxy. Promo code SGP save you $50 on the proxy fees.
I did receive a DM inquiring about sign up weekend and if Nick Velvet would be there.
Oh, Colby, bring the hat.
That there's no guarantees on Nick Velvet. We got to see where he's at.
Your wife is going to be like, no, you can't take
no
that
Velvet.
hat.
No Velvet to Vegas.
You can't be too sexy.
Velvet's not allowed in Vegas anymore. It's a long story.
He's in Barbados.
If it wasn't for Velvet's horse.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Love the truck stop conference.
Kramer, let it ride.
I'm wet.